Josh is seeing somebody from the TLC universe, and it's going to be revealed at the tell-all. Both Brandon and Josh went on the Sarah Fraser Show, and I watched it, so you don't have to. Let's get into it. Josh starts out by saying that him and Natalie did not go into the last resort as a couple. The point of him going on the last resort with her was to figure out if they wanted to be in a couple and could get through their issues before deciding to be committed to one another. Brandon was asked how things are going with Julia. He paused and didn't really say anything. Of course, it could definitely be because we're going to find out more details at the end of the season, or could there still be issues between Julia and Brandon's marriage? Brandon then also shares that his responsibility is his relationship with Julia and that Julia's focus is bringing her parents over to the United States. They bring up the whole cheating situation where Julia had cheated on Brandon, and the host made a comment that kind of shocked me. She was like, well, she just made out with someone. I don't really consider that cheating. And Brandon was like, we were engaged when she kissed this person. Then they talk about the fact that Natalie has came online and said that her and Josh were not together. And Josh says that when the show started airing, obviously Natalie was seeing the negative comments and just reacted in the moment. Josh also says that couples therapy at the resort did not work for him, but that personal therapy was really insightful for him. Then the host asked Brandon and Josh who they thought was the most dysfunctional at the resort. Josh says Benny and Ari, Gino and Jasmine. Then Josh said something that I do not agree with. He said that Benny is the life of the party and that Ari is just a Debbie Downer. I don't agree with that. I think that Ari went in wanting to fix her marriage or to figure out what the hell they were doing, and Benny was completely checked out. I don't think that makes her a Debbie Downer. I just feel like that's kind of the point of the show, to figure out what's wrong with your relationship. I do understand that it's a reality TV show, but I know what you think about that. I think my notes for this part says, Josh started 90 Day Bad Boys, be so serious. Like, you are not even fully a part of the show. You are just a friend of, and you're starting 90 Day Bad Boys with Jamal and Rob. That the ladies love it. He also says that he's working a screenplay that's a comedic heist for the 90 Day Bad Boys. He's meeting with writers to get this going. Tell me that's not the definition of a clout chaser. He even says that he wants to incorporate Gino in the future and potentially Brandon. And the host asked if Josh and Brandon were invited to Jasmine's baby shower. In this part, they kind of dive into Jasmine and Gino. Josh says that Matt, Jasmine's baby daddy and boyfriend, is a piece of shit and that he feels so bad for Gino and that Jasmine pulled the wool over their eyes. Essentially, she was connected and cheating with Matt prior to coming on the last resort, and that the open marriage was just to hide what she was doing. He said that 2 months before coming to the last resort, Jasmine had been in Florida with Matt at Disney World during Gino's birthday. That Jasmine is putting on a show to make Gino look bad. Not once did they talk about all the things that Gino did to Jasmine. They just talked bad about Jasmine and what Gino was going through, essentially. They kind of dive into the Sophie and Rob piece of it all. Obviously, Rob and Josh are friends now, but at one point, Josh had slid into Sophie's DMs, and he says that he's naturally flirty, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And because a lot of cast members were going to Vegas, he wanted to invite Sophie. So then Brandon's like, why wouldn't you invite Rob then? And Josh is like, well, I didn't know Rob. And Brandon's like, well, you didn't know Sophie either. I thought that was kind of funny. Josh then says he is seeing somebody in the 90-day world, and it's going to be revealed at the tell-all. Lastly, one of the questions that they ask is if you can make out with anyone from your cast on the last resort, who would it be? Brandon says his wife, Julia, and Josh also says Brandon's wife, Julia. That's pretty much the gist of the podcast / show. Let me know what you think, and who do you think Josh is seeing from the TLC world that he's going to be announcing at the tell-all?